Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on tips and tricks beyond the basics. I'm Lauren Tansini, and I'll be your moderator today. This session is meant to be interactive between you and the speaker. So if you have any questions during the session, please add them into the Q&A tab on the right, and we will answer them at the end of the session. If we don't have time for your question, we will follow up afterwards. Also, there are resources available that are relevant to this session, so you can find those on the resource tab as well. With all that said, I'd like to introduce our speakers for today. We have Bob Lemieux, Vice President of Global Presales, and Hussein Gomaleskazolu, Lead Solution Engineer in the United States. All right, pass it over to you, Hussein.
Thank you, Lauren. Hi, everyone. So today we have lots of topics, and so we will go a little fast. So we have lots of topics here. I hope it will be useful for everyone. So first, we will start with the containers. So containers is a high topic now. So this is our architecture. So this is like a basic architecture. So like we have the interface, we have the controller, database, OMS, which is the message pass, and the agent. Now, currently you can install them everywhere. You can install them on-prem, you can install them on your cloud, you can install them. We have a SaaS offering. Now you can install them to a container. If you want to install the controller to the container, like this is like a suggested solution, like a architecture, like you can put the controller in one container, but in this case, you need to have some persistent storage, because when you upgrade the controller, you don't want to lose the, for example, SSL keys, or you don't want to use the key stores, or import, export like images or that kind of thing. So you need to have like a persistent storage. You can also have the database inside the container if you want. In this case, also you need to keep the data in a persistent storage. Same thing for OMS. If you want to keep OMS in a container, you need to keep this like the active message data in the persistent storage. Same thing for agent also. Agent can be also inside the containers. With the after 7.7 release, we also support TLS SNI. So in this case, you can keep the controller and message pass, the OMS, inside one cluster, and you can able to access it from external agents also. But beside this is one part of the containerization. The other part is you may want to run some tasks in containers. Like in this case, for example, I have some example workflow here. So we recently published like 4 different integration for all of the major cloud container services. Like we have integration with the Azure Cloud Service. We have integration with this AWS EKS. We have integration with the Google GKE. And also we have integration with the OpenShift. So these are running very similar way. Like I will show one of them, for example. And this is the AKS integration, if I go to the definition of it. So we can run jobs. We can run from the cron job. If your developer creates a cron job template, we can run them also. And like we can connect to the server service, like we can use this application authentication. And then you give the cluster name. So all of these you see here, we can directly connect to the service. We can get the list of the available clusters. Like I can get resource groups, and same for all the others. And the other thing is we give you like 3 options for the definitions of the jobs you want to run. So like, for example, you can keep the definition inside the controller. Like this one, you can have a script that has the information about the container and the command you want to run. And you can have it on a local file, which is like a file on the agent server, or you can have a link. If you want to use a link, I have an example here. For example, we can directly use the definitions directly from GitHub, for example. If you give a link that has the content of the file, we can also execute them. And one other benefit for that one, this will not just launch it. It will launch and track the status of the tasks. And then if you select that one, it will check the container logs, and it will wait until the container is successfully completed. Then you also have the options for the output. You can say that in the extension output, I want to print this one. In the std out, I want to print this information. So you can select which output you want to get. And also you have an option what you will do afterwards. Like, do you want to delete the job, or do you want to keep it, or do you want to delete it when it's successfully completed? So you have these options. And so, like, I just run it because of the time. So I run a AKS task, and I run this 3 tasks in different cloud vendors. I run them in parallel. Whenever it's completed, I run the OpenShift job. All of them has this option also. Whenever a task completed, even if success or failed, you can go to the details. You can see the resource name, the namespace used. You can see the job status. You can also see the last update time, and also you have this commands for this execution. Like, I can retrieve the output of this execution. So in this case, it will connect to the container and try to get the output of that execution. And also, because I didn't want to delete it because to show you this option. So you can also delete the resource after you complete it, because sometimes you may use like a named container name can be like auto-generated, and like a generated name, I believe. And in this case, you will have a variable with the actual name of the resource, or you can just right click here and you can delete the resource here. And same for the others also, like as I said, EKS, AKS, Google, and OpenShift, they have the similar functionality, and it's currently available in the Integration Hub. You can download and you can start using them. And by the way, if you have some questions, you can just ask them in the Q&A part of the webinar. So the second part, this is not new also. We released it in the last release. We have the CLI. So I just want to show how to start, like how to download the CLI, how to do the basic setup for it. So to download the CLI, you need to go to the customer portal. I think if you are a customer, you can connect to the customer portal under the download section. Now we have something called UAC tools. If you go here, and it will, if I click on that one, it will open the Send Safely and on this folder. So we have 2 options. We have 2 versions here, but you can download the latest one. So these are just binaries. So this CLI that you can download it, and the benefit for that CLI is like this CLI is using the APIs. So whatever you do with the APIs, you can use them with CLI. So even it's easier to use the CLI, it's easier than using the APIs. We published the binary version, so you don't need to have, like, this is implemented in Python, but you don't need to have Python on your machine. So because we converted like a binary, so everything is included in one package. You just download and you can use it. So we have Linux and Windows versions. So another benefit is you can also download it to your local machine, and you can use the CLI from your machine to see the status of the task, for example, if you want. So you can download I will download the Linux version. So I already downloaded it, and I already uploaded it to the server. So this is the file, the tar file I uploaded to the server. So if you do a tar xdvf and this file, so it will extract 2 files. One is the license file, and the other is the actual CLI command. So to run it, you can put it somewhere in the path. It's better. If you don't, you can just say, if you just give the path of the CLI, and you can use it, like this one, for example. When you run it without any parameters, it will give you some help here. But at the same time, you can access to the same help or similar help, or maybe the better help from our user documentation. For example, if you go here from the controller, if you click on this documentation here, it will open the latest user documentation. So under the remote interfaces, if you click here, now we have the third option here. If you click on that one, it has some basic information, but this tool is like a external tool or that kind of thing for our system. So we publish the documentation in a different place, so you can access it here. So if you click here, it will open a read the docs document. So here you will have the documentation. You can find the link in the handouts in the resources section. And one good thing here, I think I recommend you to start from here, getting started section, because this one describes how to download it. It describes how to do the basic setups. This also supports multiple profiles, like which means that you can use the same CLI command to access multiple controllers. Let's say you have a test, dev, and prod. You can use the same CLI to access to different controllers. In this case, you need to use some parameters. So there are some environment variables also you can set, like you can set the URL and token to an environment variable. We also support using, you can just define them in the command line parameters, or you can run a config init command like this one to create a profile that holds the controller name and the token information. So it will just save it to a local file, and then it will use it from there. And then also there are some examples like how to use it, how to list. So this is a useful. So I will show them also here. So I downloaded the CLI, and also the command line also have the same similar documentation in every command. So you see here, you can able to access all of these commands that's possible with the APIs with the CLI command. And to do this basic setup, you can say config init, and then it will ask for a URL, and then it will ask for a personal access token. How you get the personal access token is if you go to the controller, if you go for your account, you can do it simply here, edit profile, or if you want to create a personal access token for a service account, you can go to the users. I created one user here, like a TT user, like a tips and tricks user. So you can generate a personal access token under the user. There's a personal access token here. You can say that test, for example. You can give a date, expiration date, or otherwise it will create for 2 years. So it will give you a token here. And if you don't want to use it, you can just revoke it. So this token, you can, once you create it, you can use it in the command line. I will not create a new one because I already have one. So this one I created, so you can put the controller URL here. And if you enter, it will ask for a token, and then you can put the token you get there. But I will not use that because I already put this, the token information in my environment. So I have this CLI token here, CLI URL here. And so by using this one, this CLI command can access to the controller. The basic command, if you want to test if it is working, you can say system get. So it will get the system details of the server it's connecting for now. So like it says that Atlanta controller or that kind of information here. Then, for example, you can use this task for get the list of tasks, for example. I can say tasks. If you don't know the details, if you say task, then it will give you the commands, sub commands you can run. Like one of them is list. I say task list. If I don't know what to say, I will say dash dash help, and it gives me the options I can use. This is like a search command. So I say that name, anything start with deb. So I can use star here. You see, it lists me with a JSON format. This is similar to our APIs. And the same thing, just as this is the tips and tricks, you can also have a debug option here as the parameters. So in this case, it will do some debug parameters. But this one also, for example, if you want to try an API, and if you don't know what to put in the payload, this will give you this information also. It says that in header, I use this information. This is the URL I connected, and this is the payload I gave for that API execution. So you can have that kind of information if you use the debug option. Like this one, I list the tasks. For example, I want to see the details of one task. For example, this one. So in this case, there is a get option. But in this case, it's better to get the help first, because based on the API documentation, some of the parameters are you pass it like from the payload. Some of them you pass them like a query parameters. So in this case, it's better to check, because CLI will handle all of them. So I will say task name equals to the job 6 task get task name. So in this case, this is a get operation to see the details of the task. And also sometimes, let me remove this. Sometimes you want to get some information from a task and use it in the next task. For example, in this case, we have these options. If you say help here, we have this output option. Output will write it to a file, but also we have a select option, which allows you to use JSON path. Because it's a JSON, you can parse the values with JSON path. Like for example, if I say select, then I can put a JSON path is something start with $, and then you give the root of the tree format. Like I will get the command, for example. If you say that, it get the command information and print it here. For example, if you want to get the agent, you can do it here. And by using the shell, you can also set this to a variable, for example, if you want. Like you can say agent equals to $, open parenthesis, and close here. So in this case, I will get the definition of the task. I will get the agent information, set it to a variable called agent. Now, if I say echo, I have this information here. Also, you can use this information, like this one. I will write it to an output file. I will say that like a job.json. So I write it to a file. Now I have this job.json file here, which has the content. So I can use the same thing. Like I can say task update. So update gets an input file. So it needs an input file. This is a required field. So I need to say update job.json file. Then it allows me to modify the information. So the one trick is you need to use the exact name, exact format, like these ones. Like for example, if you want to modify EF enable, you need to use the exact same cases. So I will just update a simple thing like a summary. For example, let's update the comment. If you want to update the comment, you will say update input that JSON file, and then you say the comment equals to find that. If you do that, it will get the definition from here. It will modify the JSON based on this information, and it send it back to the controller. And one other thing I want to show, because I don't want to spend so much time here, and one other thing I want to show is to launch tasks. You can also use the CLI to launch some tasks. You can say task launch, and then you say the name of the task, which is like the job 6. If you do that, it will launch the task, but it will not wait for it. But this launch option has also wait option here. So you have the wait option. Wait will do such thing. It will launch it, and it will check the status of it until it's successfully or until it's completed. It can fail also. Let's say it failed. If you want to end the task with a return code, like let's say that the task ended with exit code 127. If you want the CLI also end with the same exit code, you can use this parameter here. So I will do just wait here just to show you. In this case, you see it takes some more time because now it's running this find command behind the scene because we updated that one. Then afterwards, and it checks by default it's 10 seconds. So afterwards, it returns the task instance. You see here, I have the status. So I have the task instance status of this execution. So there are lots of things. You can use the CLI for creating tasks, modifying the task, launching them, and like creating users, everything. Whatever you do with this API, you can use them with the CLI also. Let's go to the next one. So we did the setup. We show how to use it. Now, this is something that is in preview. So we didn't release it yet, but it is available. So you can use it. And it's experimental, so there can be some problems. So we generated an AI-based function generator. And also the URL of that one is available in the handouts. And let's come here. So this is the page. So this page is for, and if you come here, our documentation, we have the functions under other, there are functions. So this page, it's just one page here that describe all the functions that you can use inside the controller. So it gives you the structure, it gives you the how to create a job, which parameter means what, and then it has some examples here. So I was thinking that to write a function, because we have lots of functions here, you need to read all of them, you need to find the correct function, and then you need to use it. And if we generate something that helps you, I think it will be useful. So we get all the information from that single page, feed it to an AI, and now you can ask something to AI, and it can give you the functions you may run. We put this here, so it may be not correct, by the way. So, but even it's not correct, it gives some idea. So I have some examples here. So let's say that, for example, if you say, for example, something like this, it's very useful for the date functions. For example, I want to say that find the first Monday of next month plus 2 business days. So if you need to get a date like this and use it as part of your scripts, for example, you can ask to generate a function for you. So it will generate a function. You see, this needs like a 3 nested functions. Also, it knows that how nested functions works, and it gives you a function. You can just copy it and use it. The other benefit of that page is function validation, because writing some functions inside the controller, it can be a pain because of the font size and the formatting. You may forget one single tick and the function may not work. So for such thing, for example, we implemented a JavaScript page here that dynamically validates your function. When you start writing something like a date, for example, it automatically say that you forgot to close the parentheses. And at the same time, whenever you run a function here, it gives you the parameters of that function in here. And also, for example, if you have a function like this, like if you put it there, so it says that, okay, everything is balanced, like all the parentheses are closed, all the single ticks are closed. You have all of these information. And also you have some more information about what functions you use here. So what is the parameters? What does it mean? The other thing is, like, sometimes you may find a function that someone created in your team and you don't understand what it does. So in this case, we put a function explainer. So it just explains the function. It says that it used the date advanced function. It used this one. It used that one. So it gives you what is the, so at the end, you say the expected result is the first Monday of the next month plus 2 business days. So it tried to understand, it understood what this is doing. And the last one is sometimes you have a function that doesn't work. So for example, if you forget if you don't know the nested function functionality, for example, if you implement it like this, it will not work. But you can ask this fixer command. It is that fast. Okay. So it says that the function incorrect nested. Okay, because I did it before, so it came from the cache. So it says that there was an incorrect prefixes, and so it fixed the prefixes for you. So you see, it gives you the correct function here. So this can be something useful, and you can start using it. So it will be part of our documentation shortly, in probably next release or maybe later. And so in this page, probably you will find a link here, and it will allow you to generate the functions by using AI.
And Hussein, we did have a poll that we will ask real quick. So this is, how do you feel about the new experimental Stone Branch function generator? Love it. It will be super helpful. Not sure if I will use it. So just go ahead and let us know what you think. And you can find the link to this in the resource section so that you can test it out and give it a try. All right, I'll give it one more second. Okay, I'm closing the poll. So it looks like 82% love it. So that's great news.
Nice. And this is like, it's only using the public information, and I don't know, for security, you can implement the same thing with AI, but I believe it's useful. And so the other thing, like this is not also new. This is something we implemented in 7.7, and in the controller in workflows. And let's go to the workflows, tips and tricks. You can have inside the workflow, you can have dependencies. Before 7.7, all of these dependencies was like an AND condition. It was saying that when this is successful, when this is successful, when this is successful, and then this task will run. But there are some requirements saying that, like, I want to do such thing. I will wait for a file, and I will wait for one of these tasks to be success. That's enough for me to run the other task. So in this case, previously, we were doing some complex options, like we were putting some slip task, and whenever one of them is completed, we were removing the dependencies. But now you don't need to have such thing. Like you can have this condition expression here, condition expressions. So this allows you to set a AND, like all satisfy or any satisfy. This is like an AND, this is like an OR. So you can create a conditions like an AND and OR condition. So I will do such thing. I will run this critical task when a file is arrived, when one of these dependent, like a job 6 or 7, one of them is good. If one of them is succeeded, it's good, but it's not part of the this workflow. So I'm using a task monitor to check the next execution of that one. I'm looking from the current time and future, and the status of that task should be skip, finish, or success, or one of them, like a 6 or 7. And then I add two more tasks here. So I will do this dependencies from this task to this task. And I will say that if one of them is complete, is one of them completed successfully, it's good for me. So it will be like a file, one of these, or one of these. So let's do the condition here. So the condition here, I said that AND condition, because this one is required. So one of them is required. So I put any satisfied. So I put both of them. So if any of them is success, then it's okay. Then I will put one more satisfy here. So I said that it will be any satisfy. So you can drag and drop them. I will drag and drop it under this condition here. So this is part of this one. So I will put it also here. So this is like an AND and OR condition together. This and one of these and one of these. So if I save this, if I save the workflow, if I launch it, so it will do such thing. If I go to this workflow here, now this is satisfied. So it is waiting for one of these tasks. It is waiting for one of these tasks. So this is also satisfied. We don't need to wait for that one. So it will wait for one of these, 6 or 7. So let's use the CLI and launch the 6. So it launched. Let's wait for 6 to be completed. You see, this one succeeded, this one succeeded, but this one didn't succeed, but the task is executed based on the condition. But I did one more trick here. So this is depend on your use cases. Like, for example, because as we are not waiting for this task will continue running. So if you want to continue the next process, okay, this task will succeeded and the next task will run, but this workflow will still be in running status. That kind of monitors, if you are monitoring for something, but if you don't want to wait the monitor until after this task is succeeded, so I put a action here. So this action said that whenever this task is completed, run a force finish the workflow. So it just force finish the workflow. You can use the workflow ID also, just to be sure that you're force finishing the correct workflow. So if you're done with this workflow and if you don't want the other task to continue running, like monitors, you can just force finish the workflow with an action. Okay, then the next item. Swagger. So API is also one of the strong part of us. So I don't know if you realize, we put a button here. So this one opens a Swagger documentation. So this is our all APIs. So we still have the other one. We still have this under the remote interfaces. We still have the very detailed documentation about the APIs. Like if you want to go to this task instances and if you want to see something, you have a detailed documentation here. But this one is based on the open API documentation. And we publish the JSON format of our all APIs with the structure, open API structure. So if you have a code generator or something, you can give it and it can automatically generate code for you in 2 formats. It can be JSON format, it can be YAML format. It's both of them are available and you can just download them. And this interface also give you option to try some APIs. So we have an option here to authorize. So if you have a personal access token, you can put it here. If you have a username and password, you can put it here. Or if you don't put it, it will just ask for username and password. Like, for example, if you want to try some basic things, like, for example, running an agent, getting an agent list with an API. So there's a try out option here. Like if you go here, you say that it's a get operation. It gets it will return like a JSON format. And if there's a problem, you will get this 400 error. And if you want to try that one, there's a try option. There's no parameter for that one because that's why it's easy to execute. I will just execute it. Now it executed because it used the credential already saved in the browser. So it also gave me the curl command, how to run this API. And this is the URL I ran, and this is the response I get. So it gave me all of this information. Like, for example, if I want to do, you see all of them are here. So if you want to test one of the APIs, you can use this one. And once you run a successful run, you will get like a curl command if you want to run it as part of your task, or if you want to create like a Postman task, you can also use the information you gather from here. So for example, I will do like a launch task, simple one. So it says that if I say try out, it says that you need to give a payload. So these are all the possible options you can put in the payload. But for my case, it's easy. I will just give a name. So let's remove all the others. The name is like that job 5. If I execute that one, so in this case, you see it executed this curl command with this payload, and then I got this response. But this one is just launched, so it's not waiting for task to be completed. But you have all of this information here. So this is also useful if you are doing some tests or if you are doing some automation with APIs. This page is very useful. Okay, now it's the fun parts. Bob.
All right, thanks, Hussein. So the next section we're gonna go into Zoe. A lot of you might be familiar with Zoe, and some of you might not be. So what Zoe does, it really helps our mainframe customers. And at Stone Branch, we have a pretty large footprint of mainframe customers that have tools that interact with this, with the system logs, right? So historically, we really didn't have a way to do that, but now we have built-in integration with Zoe. Zoe sits on the mainframe. It ships with the ZOS operating system. Just about every mainframe data center I go into, Zoe's up and running. There's two started tasks. There's they start with IZ. So if you're in your data center and you do a prefix on IZ asterisk, if Zoe's up and running, there's an angel process and a server process. And what it does is Zoe allows us to tap into mainframe resources, via CLI or API. And one of the most useful tools that Zoe has into it is reading the system log. And what we're going to do today is show you how, one of the most common use cases we see on the mainframe is I need to wait for CICS regions to come down. And then once the regions come down, I would set some virtual resources to let processing continue. And then when the CICS regions come up, we don't allow any jobs that cannot run with the onlines up, the ability to do that. But with Zoe, you can monitor anything. You can monitor error codes. You can monitor jobs. Anything that's in the system log. And Hussein's going to go show you. And then, the really nice piece with this is that we all know the mainframe logs can be pretty big. So what we do is, in our example, we go get the logs every 15 seconds, and then it gives us the return of the logs. And it stores it in cache. We don't store it in the controller anywhere. And then, we can review the output, and then it just does it in 15-second intervals. But you can set the interval to whatever you'd like. So with that said, and kind of give you a little segue into what Hussein's going to show you. All right, Hussein.
Okay. So we wrote an integration with the Zoe client. Zoe client will give you options to list like a syslogs, for example, and it gets a time, and it also gets like a range. So we did such thing, very simple, and we get the time, and we read the logs, and then we get the latest time from the log, and the next time we run it, we start from that time. So like you see here, there's a time here. If I refresh here, so based on the last messages, so it will just increment. So we only read the last, or we only read the new messages. One thing we are doing is it's very simple. So once we read a message, we publish it. So the controller has this option, like we can publish event to the controller. So whatever we read from the log, we publish them. So just there is one task, like this task, is reading the log and publishing it to the controller. And this allows us what? This allows us to have multiple triggers that looking for different things. Like for example, I have one trigger is looking for messages. The content of the message contains this information. Controller is given. I have another one is looking for, and any message that contains, the content contains ended, but at the same time contains RC equal. So like this is a format here, but we don't know how many spaces are there or what is the name of the resources. So we put a condition and relate it with these two information. So it will, this one will look for every messages that has these two keywords in it. And the other one is looking just something that has the content start with plus. So these are the any messages you put in the syslog, it start with plus, as I see. And anything with starting with plus, or like I put any condition here, or any messages that has ended and RC at the same time, because these messages doesn't start with plus. So I put an additional condition here. So to summarize again, like one task to read the logs, multiple tasks to filter the logs and do some actions. So we have triggers here. So one trigger, this one, will just print out whatever we collect from the log. So just for demo purposes, you will see a one task showing the actual message, and the other task will do some actions. Bob, if you want, we can start.
Yep. So what I'm going to do now is we're mimicking bringing CICS up.
Yes.
Right. So we're going to be looking for the control is given.
Yes. We have three virtual resources. So we will use it for different regions. All of them is resource one, which means that the controller can run some task now. So now Bob is, this is the publisher task. So it's running behind the scenes. So let's see. Bob, did you run the task?
Yeah, let me just check it out real quick.
Okay.
Yep. So he should have came up. Oh, so I ran that one. Let me run the right one this time. Sorry about that. Okay. Hussein always has to keep an eye on me. There we go. So you should see.
Okay.
You see, this is just a message to mimic control is given to CICS. So you see, we have control is given, and then you should see the message where he toggles the resource to 0, which means anything waiting with CICS up. You can see right here that it processed the resource and then set it to a 0.
Yes. So this one is for the one that shows the actual content of the message. So the line in the syslog is this one. So we capture that one. So based on this one, we launch a task that with an action to set the resource to 0 based on the name we captured from the message. So we parse the message here. So we get the name here, and based on this name, we updated the virtual resource. So you see, this region becomes like 0. Now, Bob will run another task. That will send another message, which is the other condition, which is like have an ended and the RC equals information.
Okay, getting ready to
you see here,
submit it.
We got a message now. So this is the content of the message. You see it's not starting with plus, so it has some information. This is one information from the syslog. So based on this one, we captured the information, it matched the conditions, and then, okay, Bob ran it twice, I believe. And then it execute a task that the message, get the CICS name, and then use this variable to set the resource back to 1. So if I go to the virtual resources, it was 0. If I refresh, it will be 1. Now the task inside the controller can run. So this is the way. So this is just an example. So you can do anything. You can monitor the syslogs or the job log or proc log, and based on this information, based on the information inside this log, you can do something, execute some tasks.
Yep.
Okay.
And the only thing that I'll add, Hussein, to everybody that's on, a lot of things that you have tools like Ops MBS, AF Operator, Control O. We're not looking to replace everything those do, but if they pertain to scheduling, this is a viable solution to do that. All right, I think we're done with that, Hussein.
Okay, let's go to the last one. And so this is just like some basic information, but we realized that some of the customers haven't tried to download the extensions, or they don't know. So this will be just like a basic information how to download an extension, how to import them, and the other files in the extension files. So as you know, in the controller, you can go to the integration hub, and this is our public website. So we publish the integrations here. So if there's something interested for you, you can just download them. For example, one thing is like let's say Kafka. Let's say that I need to publish something to the Kafka. You can just come here. You can see some basic documentation. There are some detailed documentation. If this is the integration you want, you can just add it to the shopping cart. Let's do one more. And like these are the new integrations. These are the like a popular integrations. So for example, this one, intercloud data transfer task is very useful because it allows you to access almost all the cloud storage with one task with lots of features. And we updated the documentation, by the way. So we have lots of examples here in the documentation. And also we published how to set up these tasks, because it may be a little complex. So we also put that kind of information here, and we also put some basic configuration options here. So it's a really good integration. Let's add it to the shopping cart also. So you see all of them are free. And let's say that let's do a checkout. So in the checkout, it asks for a user. So this is this is not related with your license. It's just a regular user. You can create a user here. And I already have one. So I will log in. So once I log in, so I need to read this terms and use. And if you accept, you will submit the order. In this case, it gives me 2 download links. I will just download it. Did I click on it. It will download, and let's download the other one, Kafka. Okay. Now I downloaded 2 files, but you see these are like a unique IDs of that one. And so let's go to the download folder. Let me delete the old ones. Okay, so these are the 2. And okay, these are the 2 zip files I downloaded. Let me remove that one also. Okay, so you need to extract them. When you extract, like it extracted to a folder, let's extract this one also. It extracts to the folder. So if you see the content of the zip, so there's an export folder. Under the export folder, there is another zip file. This is the zip we will import to the controller. And this zip file also have the version, like it says at 2.0 for this integration. And for the other one also, this is the cloud data transfer task. We have the export folder similar to the other one, which has the zip file here. But also we have the observability. So this integration support the observability metrics. And we also provide a dashboard for the Grafana. If you are using that integration, you can just import this dashboard to the Grafana and you will have some metrics about it. So for these integrations, you need to go to the controller. If you already have them, updating is also same process. You select the import integration template. you will select the zip file you downloaded under the folder, under the export. You select the zip file here. You say import. Some of the integrations may be bigger than the others because if we are using a tool or that kind of or libraries, we also embed them as part of the integration. So it may be a bigger. Let's import the other one also. And let's go to the downloads and the Kafka export zip file and import them. So if you want to be sure it's important, if you say imported here, it should be imported. But if you want to be sure, so you can go to the universal template. You can find the template you imported, like for example, cloud data transfer task. And at the bottom of this page, you have some metadata. And in here, we also give you the version of the extension. If you don't see that one, you can just click on details and there should be a hide metadata option or a show the metadata option. So if you do that, you will see this information. So you can see the version of the extensions here. And one other thing, as it's a tips and tricks, sometimes if the extension is big, like this one, for example, this is about like a 20 some megabytes. You may have some errors because it may say that this is bigger than expected or the allowed size. So in this case, we have this under the properties. If you search for template, template, you will see universal template extension maximum bytes. So there's a number here. By default, I think it's like a 7 megabytes. You can extend this number. Sometimes, as we do such thing, like for example, you see there's a checksum here. When you import a new integration, we are doing such thing, and we are checking if the agent has the extension. If not, we are sending it through the OMS. We are sending it directly to the agent. And during that time, we need to put all this extension data to the OMS. And there's a message size limitation in OMS by default. If you are using on-prem and OMS, so in this case, under the controller, let me show you here. And under the controller, under the etc universal OMS conf, we have one configuration about the max message size. You may also increase that one. This supports like up to 1 gig. And if you have an extension that is bigger than the allowed size, the default size, which is like an 8 megabyte, I believe, and you can increase the size here. That's all we have today. Let's see the questions.
All right. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and add them into the Q&A tab and we will answer them now. All right. First question, or we got a couple questions if this was being recorded. Yes, this session was recorded and we will email it to you later today so that you can rewatch and share. All right. First question. If I store the script in StoneBranch, can it be exported along with the job schedule and other information?
If the script is in StoneBranch, you can export them. So because this is script definition, and for scripts also we can export them like a JSON, and you can access them with APIs also, and yeah, you can.
Great. Does this new UAC CLI facility replace the legacy CLI facility?
And no, we still have this, the legacy one of CLI. It will be there. And this is just an additional. So this is like a, how to say, API, a new interface for the API.
Okay. Where do I get the Zoe software for mainframe?
It should be, it should ship, it should be in your, it's an SMP install from IBM. So it should already be there, in your environment.
Okay. When installing UAC extensions, do they move when promoting bundles, or do they need to be loaded in each region manually?
With the bundles, we have this option. With the bundles, let's say this. When you do a promote a bundle, there is an option here, allow universal template changes. So if you select that one, when you do the promotion, the extensions also will be promoted.
Okay. Can we create a JSON script directly in GitHub and use GitOps to create the job based on the script?
Based on the script. So you need to do such thing. So we also have a jobs as code, by the way. So jobs as code allows you to create the job definitions as part of a JSON inside the Git repository. And if you do that, for example, the one that GitOps, I believe GitOps can also communicate with APIs to the controller. So like you can create a job, and then inside your job definition, you can use such thing, like the similar thing what we do here. Your job definition will be referring to that job. So for example, if I do a download here, and okay, this is task instance, sorry. If I do a download here, so this will give you a JSON file that has it will give you the definition of the job, like all of these here. And let's search. You see here, there's a field text4 contains this information. And you can do the similar thing. You can have a JSON inside the Git, and you can do a post request to the controller to create a task with the YAML file that is already inside your Git. But you need to also give the credential how to access to the Git repository.
Okay, perfect. That was our last question. Thank you so much, Hussein and Bob. That was really helpful. This session has been recorded. We will share it to your email so that you can rewatch and share with your colleagues. Thank you so much for joining today, and we will see you on our next session.
Thank you.